also one concurrent viewer. Good morning. 1 second. Weird, apparently it put me live. Oh well. I'm not gonna complain. Let me just, where it actually says no data. No, all kinds of data. And thank you, Paul Lou, for tuning in. I just figured I would do a little bit of a morning stream just for something a little bit different. Considering I'm up this early in the morning and since RJ Rong Aquilio is not started yet, figured I'd get a little bit of watch time in. One concurrent viewer and 2 playbacks. What does 2 playbacks can mean, I wonder? Let me just do something here. Oh, wrong thing. What guitar playing? I will, had a friend say that they were possibly going to bring me some garden vegetables. So, just seeing if they actually were. Well, Paul, first off, I don't give a damn about people spelling or grammarly being correct or not. I'm not one of those grammar Nazis, to put it in a better, more YouTube-friendly term. This is basically, you can't see the label per se, but it is a Fender Acoustics CD60CE Natural. Crafted in China. Made in accordance to specifications of Fender Musical Instrument Corp. USA, manufactured in China. Fender is a registered trademark of FMIC. I see. So, again, got my freshly done from the dual wall French press coffee, and a nice, fairly strong brewed medium roast. So I figured I'd just, again, hop on since I can hop on and, just chit chat, maybe play around. Because, I do the noodling around videos. Because I don't give a rat's derriere about certain individuals that feel you shouldn't post up on YouTube if you're a bad player or whatnot. That's their crazy prerogative. And yes, do you have a 12-string version of this? If so, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's really good. I don't have Fender strings on here, though. I have the Ernie Ball Earthwounds light gauge, so it's not 12s. It's actually I believe an 11 or a 10 high E. So I love those strings, but run with 13s. Yeah, probably on something like a 12 string. I would venture to guess you probably would be running a heavier gauge of string in the first place, because a lot of the stuff that you play on a 12 string, there's not too much single note. Now from the Mel Bay's Book of Learning to Play Guitar. Nice finger picked. And of course, the pick that I always enjoy using when playing acoustic. I can't remember if I won this or was given this, but Robert Baker likes Dragonheart picks, except he uses them for playing electric. I tried using this pick playing an electric, and I just couldn't bond with it or get with it. I find that on electric, these Dragonfire picks are not that great. On an acoustic, though, I think they're awesome picks for acoustics. Like, they seem to have a more natural kind of sound to them, like they almost give you a nice kind of finger pluck kind of So you're not too far off when I pick with my fingertip, which you can't see. And then I use the pick. Almost indistinguishable there. I tend to really dig in to the strings when I'm playing on stage, and 13 seem to stay. Yes, if you're a heavy player, then you definitely play heavy gauge strings. My case, one of the things that I think that I've been luckily enough to pick up well since all my kind of playing around and whatnot has been being a light picker. You know, the difference between but for some reason on acoustic, I really dig being able to like do slides and bends on an acoustic just like I can on an electric. Awesome. Bought a new Gibson V 2 weeks ago and hope to use it for gigging in 2 weeks. Hopefully, yeah, in 2 weeks that would be a nice thing. It's so funny, like, for Gibson products that I have played around on, I have actually, I've played now a couple Les Pauls. I don't think I've ever played a Les Paul custom in the way of the true, like, custom with the diamond in the headstock. I've played a custom shop limited edition run. I've played a standard, Les Paul standard from, I think it was a mid-90s. Then also in regards to like my own stuff, I've had I've had an '08 and an '09 Gibson SG Special, which again I refinished. Made all the Gibson people cry because I ruined the Gibson. In both instances, the Flying V faded and the SG, what was it? SG Special, not the low end SG Special, but the one that's just under the SG Standard. But again, somehow people actually liked what I did to the SG Standard. But then again, though, I only took it from the brown finish to an actual all natural finish with a tung oil sealant on it, and it looked awesome after. And in the Flying V, well, people were all ticked off because it was a cherry red V, which actually had some underlying body issues to begin with. And if you go and you look back through my videos on the channel, I believe it's 2012 December 2012 time frame. I have videos of both of those projects which I did over like the winter. The Flying V faded. I actually, in a lot of ways, I liked that guitar, but also at the same time it was kind of it also had some issues, which I think were the frets, and but I love how I basically turned it from like this. It was also a cherry red Flying V faded. I don't know what it is with Gibson and their obsession of that everything that they have to put out in certain models has to be cherry red, because it does not look great on all of them. So basically, I took the Flying V, kept the original pickguard, kept the original control configuration, upgraded the 2 volume and tone pots, put a different cap in, put a new input jack, threw a toggle, kept the white used pickguard. The rest of the guitar I did in black, and there were spots where I didn't actually get the nitro off enough, or the sealer on the nitro or the sealer on the wood through enough, and it ended up going from being a solid black to actually being patches. But on the plus side, though, where it actually didn't take the black wood stain or wood dye that I used, it actually kept its original kind of natural mahogany finish to come through, so it kind of had this like cool relic look, and it kind of almost had like a little bit of a Hendrixy vibe compared to the Hendrix Flying V with the chrome covered pickups, which I totally changed out the pickups in it for a set of Dragonfire Vintager chrome covered humbuckers. And again, people were all like, oh, you put shitty pickups in it and blah blah blah, and it's like, and if you actually go and look at the reaction on those videos, people actually were impressed with like the things I did to it, as much as they thought it was actually taking away from the actual Gibson vibe and everything else. It's like sometimes that's not even the case. Excuse me. It's actually funny because there was a post recently on Facebook on one of the guitar kit forums that I'm around on, and somebody made the comment and they go, Gibson makes great guitar kits. And I was just like, huh? And I was like, So basically, what this guy did was he went to a Gibson place. I don't know if he bought it brand spanking new as a brand new piece, or if he bought it as a used piece. I think he bought it as a used piece from like a music go around or something. And he basically took an SG special. Exactly, Paul Lou. Sometimes I don't get people. It's your guitar. Do with it what you want. Yes, and not to give attention to a certain individual that loved complaining about that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is like as a lot of people say, it's just basically wood with a finish. Some metal strings, some metal stuff on it. Basically the possibilities of what it can be is endless. And I must say, in the case of what Gibson did, and I think they still do it to this day, and that is some of the faded series instruments don't actually get their standard pickup. They actually get more of a hybrid kind of higher output ceramic type pickup. Like, that was the one thing that drove me nuts about the Flying V Faded I had, was the rear pickup it was awesome if all you wanted to do was play high gain metal type stuff. If that's all you ever played, you'd be fine and you'd be set with that Gibson 500T pickup in the bridge. But the problem was as I discovered, and as a lot of people that have followed me know, I like playing cleaner stuff as much as I do like playing heavier stuff at times. And that 500T pickup in the bridge on that Flying V Faded was just horrendous. Like, it actually, I would say that was when I had the Viper VIP. I think I had the Viper VIP 2 by then. And I found that pickup actually made the amp have fits. Like, if you just kept it, that there was just a simple little bit of like light gain overdrive going on, and a certain amp configuration with a little bit of like reverb going on, it was fine. But as soon as you actually started to try to push that up to like anything high gain with any kind of effects to it, the pickup just like garbaged out. It just would start to mud out, and it just did not sound nice at all. So I was more than happy to get the 500T out of it. Ended up selling it to a guy locally who actually was a Flying V guitar fanatic. So worked out pretty good. He got some original pickups that he could put in his Flying V's. I think he showed me he had about like 4 of them. And it was just like, wow. Including one of the Flying V2s of the early 80s. The ones that actually had the V heart-shaped looking pickups in it. And it was like such a strange looking guitar. And I was like, well, I'm glad you like it. I don't think it's that pretty. But anyways. Let me flip the pick back around and make some noise for people. got a Burstbucker 2 and neck Burstbucker 3 in the bridge. They're a good clean. Yeah. My friend had a mid-tier, I think it was 2017, and just for some reason, those two pickups just sounded like really, really terrible. That's the inherent problem with Gibson is they've strayed so much in all their product lines, including their pickups, that they've made it now like a next to impossible thing for like you think you're getting a Burstbucker 2 and a Burstbucker 3 in your guitar, and then you come to find out, well, actually no, they're Burstbucker 2 and Burstbucker 3 classics. So then it's like, well, what's the difference between a classic and a non-classic? And then it's like a simple thing as just basically a magnet in it. And same thing as like someone could have got a set of nice like a nice set of Burstbucker 2 and 3s, but they could be Burstbucker 2 and 3 customs. And again, you're led down the line of like, well, what's the difference between the regular Burstbucker and the classic Burstbucker, or the classic Burstbucker and the Burstbucker custom? And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that the Burstbucker, I believe the basic Burstbucker is a ceramic. The Burstbucker classics have Alnico 2 magnets in them, and in the case of the Burstbucker customs, they're actually Alnico 5s for magnets in them. And a lot of people are like, well, I wondered why this guitar didn't sound a certain way to me. And it's like, well, that's why. So, I mean, depending on which Burstbucker you have, whether it's the base one, the classic, or the custom, again, it depends on what you like. Because that's the other thing too. I think it's been talked about on some channels about how there has been there's some people that love ceramic. I didn't have the actual live chat going, so I just have to fix that. Not that I'm going to be streaming much longer, but so you got the people that love the sound of ceramics, period. So they can't think of any other type of pickup and think any other style of pickup are garbage. Same thing with as when you play with an Alnico 2, oh, I don't like ceramic, or oh, I don't like anything else but Alnico 2, and same thing again with the Alnico 5 myself. I definitely would say that when it comes to pickup preferences, whether they're passive or active, I would take basically anything that would be an Alnico 2 or an Alnico 5 pickup. The pickups in question in the Tanglewood, I really enjoyed those pickups, and I thought they were all different magnet configurations, just the simple fact because of them being 3 different pickups. In reality, they're all the same Alnico 2 pickups, just with the slightly like hotter windings to them, and I was just like, So, again, another one of those lovely little quirks with guitar stuff is that you get so much different varieties and different things going on. It almost makes it a crapshoot for us, the consumer, to actually do anything in regards to like when we're buying something. I mean, the only time that something isn't going to be something different is when it's something like a set of EMG pickups. Well, you know what EMG pickups are, and more than likely 99% of the time, you're getting a set of EMG pickups and not a set of EMG branded pickups with some type of different configuration on the inside. Same thing as with all the Fishman Fluent stuff. It's actually, if I understand correctly, the actual poles in them are actually magnets, but everything else about the pickup is actually PCB board. I think it was Dylan Talks Tone actually got his hands on, I think it was a single coil, and actually cut it in half to look at what it was on the inside, and it was what was it? In the instance of the set that he was able to get his hands on, it was Alnico 3 pole studs ran through, like, what was it, 5 layers of PCB, the stuff that they used to actually make video cards and motherboards and stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, it works, and that's all that matters. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, David Gilmour for a lot of the latter 70s, early 80s, if I remember correctly. A lot of his strats actually had a set of the EMG CAs. Yeah, I think it's the CA model, because they actually, again, they have 2 different models of that in regards to their single coils. They did have a set of single coils that were totally ceramic, and then they also had a set, I believe, with the notation SAs, which were actually, I believe, Alnico 2 or Alnico 5 pole pieces in them. So in the Gilmour set of EMG singles were a lot nicer sounding of a set to a lot of people, so I'm not exactly sure what ones you have, the SAs or I think it's SA and CA, I think, are the 2 brandings on them. But like you said, they're a really nice pickup, and I mean, when you talk about like sustain, that's kind of one of the nice things with the EMGs, is kind of a bit like how the Sustainiac works for Schecter and how they created that. The EMGs have that nice ability with, because of the way that they're designed and everything else, that you can actually pick a note and you'll have all kinds of like crazy sustain on it. Good morning, Eric. I need to pick the acoustic back up. The thicker strings improve my. Well, and that's kind of the big thing too. That with the thicker string gauge, it makes it harder to play, but also at the same time, it actually helps for you to build up your finger strength. So I mean, going to a heavier gauge of string, no matter acoustic or electric, but more so probably along the lines of an acoustic, is better for you in the long run because you're able to get more endurance in the strength of your fingers. So, like, I mean, some people, they'd be lucky if they could, you know, hold down on the fretboard like this and literally count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And usually by about 10, people would be in agony. Especially for playing heavier strings. But I mean, if you get your fingers, the muscles in your fingers and your fingertips used to the heavier strings, you're going to have a far easier time playing pretty much anything else. I do an all acoustic set 2-3 times per month. Keeps the finger strong. Exactly. Especially if you like you said, you use the heavier gauge. Like, it's just awesome in that regard. It's like that all this time since I started counting, I'm still got my fingers holding. Mind you, though, they're starting to hurt now, but that's because I don't have very much callousing going on my fingertips on my fretting hand. But still, again, it helps to, you know, it's like people will go on and say that, you know, well, you need practice. Well, yeah, it's true. No matter how badly you're doing something or how badly you're executing something in regards to guitar playing, at the end of the day, if it is something that ends up backing up all your basic fundamentals, like building your finger strength, putting more resistance on your fingertips, on your fretting fingers, it's never a bad thing. So, the numerous times that I say it, I'm not trying to be an RJ Ronquillo, who will be starting in probably about another 20 minutes or so. But, the more you can keep practicing, the more you can pick up things, whether it be on your own or by watching YouTube videos. Eventually you can get there that, you can put some stuff together, just like I've done, like just the little bits of blues things I was doing there just a bit ago. Like, that's a very simple thing, but at the same time, some people still don't have the ability or the timing to do it, or be able to do a variation on it. Getting back to what you said, Paul, I haven't done much researching on pickups. I just plug them in, and if I smell, they're a good pickup. If no smell, then I move on. That's pretty much it. Good morning, Michael. Yeah, because like a prime example would be in that regard was like that unfortunate 95 made in Mexico Squire Series Stratocaster I had that I killed refinishing. My biggest problem with that guitar were the pickups in that guitar. They were so much garbage. Like, it didn't matter what I threw at it, clean or some distortion at it actually helped them, but as soon as I tried to play anything clean on it, they were so degraded and everything else. They were terrible pickups. So, and then oddly enough, what did I go for pickups to put into that? I went Guitar Fetish's Red Active single coils. And as much as like everybody harped on Guitar Fetish, they actually were a really nice sounding single coil. They weren't an EMG single coil, but they weren't, exactly a crappy active single coil. Hey, Gear Junkies, Gear Junkie 35. Happy Saturday to you too. I just thought I'd jump on before RJ, and again, with the whole mantra of trying to keep things positive and keep things positive and in a good light. That's basically good light, motivating. All the good things in life compared to crappy things. Gear Junkie 35. I have wondered about the GFS actives. How are the cleans? If you go back, if I remember correctly, if you go back in my video archives and you look for, I think it's 2011, somewhere between 2010 and probably 2013. Or if you go to the video, if you go to my videos and you use the search function, type in GFS actives, and you should get the all the videos I did for the singles. Now, in regards to the humbuckers, which I was so much anticipating getting a set of and putting into a Schecter Omen 6-string, basically the low-end bolt-on neck Schecter, I had problems with that set, and you can imagine it was frustrating because it was occurring on 2 sets of the humbuckers. Yes, I agree, Gear Junkie. That whole Nandy thing was just like so awesome, and while Dave Grohl and them keep doing things like that, empowering youth, I think is going to only just lock them down further and further into being a very well-known and Hall of Fame style of group to begin with. Getting back to what I was saying about the Red Active humbuckers, I had issues with the humbuckers. I had one set that they sent me on their own in parts, out of their parts thing, and I put it in this Damon 6 guitar, or no, not Damon 6, it was an Omen 6. Either way, the low end Schecter 6-string with the hardtail bridge and string through body design on it, and put them in, put the 3-way toggle in, put the single volume, single pot in, put the battery in, everything goes in kosher, everything goes in exactly like what they say, but for some reason, nice, Michael, yes, coffee right now, coffee. For some reason, the neck pickup on it worked, though it did not work super well, but the bridge pickup did not work at all. It was just pretty much, you might as well have been taking it and going, you could be, and that's pretty much all you'd hear is the actual strings that you're playing on. The pickup barely outputted anything. So I contacted the tech or the repair or warranty person. They said, well, that's weird. We have no issues with it. And I'm like, exactly. I said, I've got the red active singles. I've got no issues with them whatsoever. And I said, and I've actually thrown them into 2 different guitar bodies since getting them. And the guy's like, well, oh, that's awesome. So what did the guy do? The guy actually took the parts out of the parts bin, assembled it all together, and tested it to make sure that everything was active. On his end, everything worked as it was supposed to accordingly. Ships it back to me. Shouldn't be anything wrong with it. Works fine together. You should only have to make 2 disconnections and reconnects, and then that's it. So I did it, put it into that like Schecter. Same thing occurred. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I said, and you made sure that this all worked before you shipped it? He said, yep. I'm like, wow. So in that instance, I wasn't very happy or positive with Guitar Fetish for red actives in the humbucker side of thing. The single coil side of thing, I had no issues, and I thought they were actually an awesome set if you couldn't get the EMG SAs, like the Paul was saying. They were flat, perhaps QC issues. At factory, I've tried the DG10 EMG set, sold a week later. Magic has to be in the Gilmore's fingers. They were flat and lifeless, yet usable. Well, I mean, that's the point of how the EMG active styles were supposed to be. They were supposed to be a flat, no tone shaped pickup. They're supposed to be a neutral pickup. The kind of cool thing with the Guitar Fetish ones was they actually had actives with and without EQ boosting. And in the case of those ones, you had 3 settings on them. You could either boost treble, you could boost bass, or you could actually boost the hotness of the pickup itself. So in the case of the single coils, I think it was a 5 dB boost in the treble or bass section, or both if you put them both on at the same time, because it had 3 little toggle dongle things on the back of the pickup. And then the last dongle was actually an actual overall output boost, which I think was actually like a 10 dB boost. And it's like, okay, as if you couldn't find the pickups hot as it was, but then the ability to throw like another 10 or 20 dB boost on its output, it's like, I bought them just for basically craps and giggles, and I had no real intention of ever using them, but it was still a nice option, and they were nice pickups. I don't know. As far as I know, the last place that they went in around my used around the local classifieds market, I think was somebody around Barrie, Ontario. I had gotten, I think I'd thrown them in. I had thrown that active picker that was black. If you look on my channel, I threw it into a first gen Squire Classic Vibe 60s, with some gold locking tuners and a gold tremolo unit and the actives, and the guitar took on a kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan vibe, though not the reverse trim or whatever, and active pickups, but the pickups sounded great, and a lot of the instruments I had used it in. Hey, Laz. Hope you slept well. Hope everyone's been well. There's been a lot of, sad, unfortunate things going on lately. I won't harp on them too much. But, getting back to what you were saying, Gear Junkies, take the QC control in, a little bit of a mindset. They aren't exactly super expensive, the red actives. I think the last time I priced out a set, I think it was a set of the singles for, I think it was 74, and that included all the wiring harness and whatnot to run them as well too. So, they're basically about under half of the price of what a set of EMG singles would be. So, and again, the QC and the fact that it's made out of an Asian production, and the other thing too, like I said in regards to Guitar Fetish, is that Guitar Fetish, let's see now, Guitar Fetish, TNT Custom, there's a lot of these cheaper brand companies that basically get the same thing made from the same basic pickup winder place. Artec, or what is it now? Yeah, I think it's excuse me, I think it's Artec is the company that produces it. Same thing as Artec themselves. There's another one there too. They have I think it's a pickup called a Custom Supreme or something like that, and it's a very nice, well reviewed Alnico 5 based humbucker set at a decent price. I think it's about $70 for a set. Yeah, exactly, Gear Junkie. Had a few GFS pedals before, no issues. Of course, proven manufacturers crank out 150 brains off the same circuits. And that's just it too. I mean, not to talk about the one controversial topic, but there was always the controversial thought that went around way back in the day that these Chipsons that you've seen running around were, by in all intents and purposes, Gibsons. But in a lot of instances, they were rejected Gibsons that had maybe some type of flaw in it. So they turned around and they shuffled them off instead of totally destroying them. Shuffled them off, and another manufacturer. Same thing as the other rumor that one company, I think, did actually come out and admit to saying that that a lot of the Chipsons were actually Epiphones produced after hours in Epiphone plants and then made to replicate the Gibson product. So Now it's to the point, though. Michael, all the COVID stuff and lack of good materials these days, I often wonder how good things are really made nowadays. Alternative materials, inexperienced laborers, and so on. Scary to think about it. You have a valid point there, Michael, and I mean, that is something that is occurring, I think, not necessarily just around the guitar market. I mean, it's like every market. Computer components, computer products, general consumer products. And then the worst part is a lot of these cheaper manufacturers, they don't have the people to do customer service, or it's to the point that now that like you might get something that's faulty, and instead of them taking it back to repair it, they just simply tell you, kind of like in some instances with some companies, just keep it, and they send you a new one, which is kind of nice, but also at the same time, if you got something that's still repairable, it kind of seems like a waste of time and money. Let's see here. My opinion, the Epi factory is gypsum. I would venture that I believe one said AliExpress company that was selling fakes did in a pretty much a non-casual way bring it up and say that basically it's what it is for the most part. As far as I know, some of those places on AliExpress, they do have their own individual independent guitar manufacturing plants. But again, the standards that these companies have in some of those facilities is pretty much, could be hit or miss. Look at China Guitar Sceptic when he was doing his Milton brand. He actually checked out a few of these Asian manufacturers to see about possibly building an affordable line of guitars under the Milton brand name. He discovered very quickly how bad the quality control was, and if you actually wanted to actually not be crappy or have really good quality control, instead of a guitar being built for it to be sold for around $200, you were going to have to end up paying a fairly hefty premium for them to build it at a higher quality level, which would then take that $200 instrument to the consumer and turn it into an upwards of $400 unit. So it's like, how is that even worth it then when you're trying to make cheap, affordable instruments for someone versus a mid-tier product that pretty much would be like what most of the major manufacturers out there would do. Let's see. Well, I mean, that's not a bad thing, Gear Junkie. Have your trainees make clones until they actually can make a good version that actually goes under a brand name. There'd be nothing wrong with that, other than of course the illegally selling them to the consumers. That would be an issue. Crap is being produced at premium prices. That I'll address that one with a big controversy that actually is going on right now, which is the Topps baseball card company was about to actually become a public company until the sports memorabilia group, Authentic, I think it is, or Absolute or something like that. I can't remember the name offhand right at the moment. But this group, they turned around, and what they did was they actually undermined Topps and bought out the next set of rights for the MLB baseball teams and players association. So now Topps, as of I think it's the 2 years is Topps in that's affecting Topps is 2022 and 2025. And what happens is, I believe in 2022, Topps will still be able to make baseball cards, and they'll still be able to make them that has the players' names and the players' like team jersey on them. But they actually won't be able to use the player's team name on the cards. And then ultimately, when the contract expires in 2025, the only thing that they'll have a right to is an image of the player and the player's name. That is the only thing that they'll be able to put out on a baseball card. Otherwise, the only ones that you can get an official MLB baseball card from that has all the official license stuff would be this Authentic group, and nobody has a clue what they're going to be doing for trading cards, if they actually are going to design and do their own trading cards. Or another thing that's been talked about is that this group, this fanatical Authentic kind of sports memorabilia group, they actually are a company that has billions of dollars, so they could turn around, and by the time it comes time for them to actually start doing trading cards for Major League Baseball and such, they could turn around and they could actually buy a company like Topps and then run Topps as the card brand and the card company doing it all. Like, it's a really kind of screwy situation. Yes, Gear Junkie, demand is up, employees are down, tough situation. For the most part, yes. If you happen to be in a country where that is going on, that you have the majority of your country is of individuals that don't want to work, or they don't want to work unless they're getting $15 an hour, then that definitely makes it hard to do production, which is kind of honestly what is going on in the US right now. There's a lot of, wage, we don't want to pay this wage and so forth, so we don't get so then what do you have then for a choice? You have your illegal immigrants come in from Mexico or other parts of the world, and they come in, and it's like, oh, okay, I want to work. I want to work to stay in the country, or to eventually become a citizen. Well, what do you have for jobs? Janitorial job. Okay, well, how much does it pay? $8. Wow, that's great. I'll take it. So you have like the people that come into the country, they're doing the job that the American person is refusing to do, because either A, they don't want to do the job, or they don't want to do the job for $8. And so that's vastly a big thing that is affecting a lot of you know, America's economy and, trade and manufacturing. Michael, wow, old Topps cards prices gonna go up. Pretty much, if Topps is left to be a lot like how I think it's Pacific or Panini, I think it is. In regards to that, Topps would be in the position where they'll be able to put out product, or at least maybe one or two lines of cards, but again, they won't have the value and demand as, say, someone or some other company like this Fanatical company that'll actually be able to have like the signature of the player on the card and everything else. Gear Junkie traded 3 pickups plus Vox Saturator for a white Gibson SG triple pickup with 3-time binding mother of pearl inlays, gold hardware, specs are 99%, sloppy paint and binding, obviously done by trainees. Keeper though, oh wow, yeah, yep, that would be nice. One of those like Gibson Les Paul SGs, pretty much. Tinkerbell, hey, nice to see you, Tink. Good morning, everyone. Been lurking for a bit. Personal experience, I've stopped buying guitars and haven't had any problems yet with any new units. Oh, I haven't stopped buying guitars. Yeah. There's still manufacturers out there that are still putting out great product. Like, doesn't matter what the country's situation is. So, again, like I point out, Schecter. Nothing changes with Schecter. They're always made in the same places and for the most part are really unaffected by what's going on right now. So your chances of getting a crappy Schecter are next to impossible compared to another guitar manufacturer. If I did, the supply house that I bought it from would end up with the problem because of decent return policies. Yeah. So many are just happy to have a check right now. That's just it. That includes axes, effects, power supplies. Good morning. Yep. No, there's a lot of markets, a lot of products are being affected. Heck, I even had my one friend say that he's even noticed the quality of bread that you buy from the store. He said he even thinks that has changed since all the crap going on. I was like, really? He goes, yeah, it seems to be like really, really junky, like rubbery, doesn't seem to last very long. And I'm like, actually, you might have a valid point. So let's see here. How long I've been live an hour and 11 minutes. Wow. Feels like forever. Yes. That as well too. If you don't buy in the econo low end range, you're not likely to get a crappy thing. Just like I said with the Harley Benton brands, they're cheap. Some of them sometimes come off a flaw, and usually the flaw isn't a big issue. And still, at the end of the day, they're willing to actually make you happy and do whatever. Gear Junkie heading to Schecter Avenger. That sounds familiar. That one. Bought it for $150 as a flipper. Sold for $375 and had a very and had a very hard time accepting the handful of money, didn't want to let her go. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's the same thing, too. There's a lot of things that people might look at as trash, and some other people looks at it as treasure. So they end up, you know, something. It's just like right now, right? I just bought an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 12 core 24 thread processor. After the initial few hiccups I've had with it, though, it's been super solid, and I'm very impressed and very happy with the purchase. But I've now got a Ryzen 5 3600X that I gotta try to sell and get the most of my money back for to help pay for the CPU upgrade. And that's the inherent problem right now, is that there's a lot of newer technology or a lot of newer things sitting out there at a better price point or better performing, so it's going to make it a little bit harder for me to move said product. But at the same time, though, as what Tink was saying, though, with the reliability of employees and the materials to do this stuff, you're having a harder chance to actually get something new that might not be flawed in the first place. So much as my previous processor is like one generation behind and 3 tiers down, at the same time it's a solid processor. Anyone that buys it will not have any problem or have an issue running it in their system. But anyways, that is enough of the gibbly-gock and goo. Thank you, Music Therapy Last, Tinkerbell, Michael Lepensi, Gear Junkie, Eric Salinas. Let's see, anyone else? Paul Liu. Thank you, everyone, for coming by and interacting with me, checking out what I was doing. A little bit of guitar playing. Really, a little bit of guitar playing, if we're honest. And, you know, thanks for the views. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it very much. Again, hopefully more and more that I feel better, the more and more I'm going to try to be more active on the channel. And, you know, I really need to get that consistency going. That said, everyone go over and raid RJ Ronquillo, who should be starting anytime now if he hasn't already. Again, thank you very much for coming by. Thank you very much for the views. Thank you very much for the interaction. Hope you all have an awesome day. And I'll catch you later. Bye for now.